Beautiful.
Cool. I'll just admit these people so far.
Yep. Awesome.
Ordered. Hello, everyone.
Boss. Let's get the mic.
A few familiar faces.
Now we're on.
Just waiting a minute.
Very much.
I don't know if I'm going to do you welcome now, Kate. There's no
Sure
one.
thing. Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this Monday afternoon. This workshop is brought to you by the rural city of Wangaratta. So we run a series of workshops aimed at business. To find out about them, the easiest way is probably to sign up to our e-newsletter. So you just go to our website, just pop Wang Council into Google or wangaratta.vic.gov.au. And if you click business, it'll have a little link that says subscribe to our e-newsletter. If you don't want to do that, you can, in that same business section, there's a little toggle that's business events, and you can browse what we've got coming up as well. 95% of the time they are free as well, and also run by local presenters such as Lauren, who's here today. That's about all from me. I won't take up too much of your time. I might get you to put yourselves on mute, I'm sure, just to minimise background noise. I'm sure Lauren won't mind if you come off mute to ask a question, or you can also raise your hand. I've got a little reactions button and I can raise my hand. So whatever you feel comfortable doing, or just give a shout. And just before we start, I'd like to pay respects to the traditional owners on probably the very many lands on which we're meeting virtually today. And we extend that respect to all Aboriginal elders past, present and emerging. And over to you, Lauren, to tell us all things social media strategy.
No worries. I will just share my screen. So 1 second, bear with me. Awesome, guys. Well, a little bit about me until I can find which screen I want to share. Oh my gosh, I've got so many tabs open. So we are based in Wangaratta, and I've been in this space for about 8 years now. And sorry, I cannot do two things at once, obviously. Let me find this. Right. Bring it over here. Okay. bring over here. Where are we? Can you see that? What are you guys seeing? Yeah, all good. Thank you. Sorry, I've got too many tabs open. I can't even know what I'm doing. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been in this industry for about 8 years. Wangaratta born and bred, but made the pilgrimage to Melbourne, as many people do, to go to uni, where I studied media studies. And ended up in the world of digital marketing. So I worked at many different agencies in Melbourne, working with the likes of brands of like Spotlight and Ben & Jerry's and Coon Cheese, primarily working in the social media marketing space, also really involved in digital advertising, and just getting a very varied access to all the different aspects of digital marketing, whether it be email marketing, you know, website creation, SEO, all that jazz. And since then, made the move back to Wangtown, where we started Propel Digital. So we've got a team of 3 of us in the office here. Everyone, if you're local based, you're more than welcome to come and visit. We're just next to Alden, for reference. And yeah, we specialize in all aspects of digital marketing, but really honing in on social media and the power of social media, particularly when it's focusing on a strategic approach, because unfortunately, social media isn't just a spray and pray approach. It's very much all about, I've got some more participants wanting to join, all about having a really structured approach to what you're putting out there in the ether. These are some of the clients we're currently working with. I see a few of our clients are joining today, so that's great. Thank you for the support. So we really looked to hone in on, I guess, also, you know, local providers and how locals can really get a more bang for their buck from their social presence by having a strategy behind what they're doing. So today's agenda, obviously you've got that within the session notes, but we're going to be covering why social media is important, particularly for local businesses, how to define your goals as a business owner, breaking down your target audience, analysing your current data to identify any opportunities, how to conduct a bit of a brief competitor analysis, how to define your key messages and content pillars, some growth tactics that feed into this whole strategy, and ultimately measuring your results and getting a sense of, okay, well, if I'm going to put all this stuff into action.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Are the slides meant to be changing, or we still seem to be on the front home, the start slide?
Let me get out of that. Is that for everyone? Can everyone see what I'm going in through?
So, Lauren, what we're seeing is we're seeing your Canva tab.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. I'm on the wrong one. Here we go. Let's see. Is that better?
Yes. So
Sorry.
we're seeing
Yes,
awesome.
I thought that.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Thanks, Graham.
Awesome. All right. Now let's really dive into the fact that social media isn't everything. I really want to stress that. You know, I think businesses can get really stressed about their social because they think that should be like the main pillar of their marketing. But it's really important to know that social media is just a really, really small component of your marketing strategy. It's a very small component of your digital marketing, which is a very small component of your marketing, which your marketing is a very small component of your business strategy. So don't get hung up on like wanting to do everything perfectly when it comes to your social media. It's really not the be all and end all. You know, it's something that I really think that if you want to leave with this webinar with anything today, it's really to remember that, you know, social media is just a tool. I like to say this quote, it's not the microphone that makes the singer great, it's their voice and it's the song and it's the way they sing it. So just thinking and applying that to social media, social media is really just a tool. It's just the microphone to amplify your message. It's not the whole kit and caboodle. So all this stuff, you know, I'm not shooting myself in the foot saying this, being a social media marketing strategist. I'm just really highlighting that there's a lot of other elements at play. Social media can be a really vital one to push your business, but it's not the be all and end all. So, well, I mean, what are the real benefits of having a strong presence on social media? I mean, if you guys are on social media at all at the moment, you'll know that it has the ability to really connect with the consumer at a more intimate level. It's really about like human to human marketing. And you'll know that, you know, from if you're using social media at the moment, just the way people are interacting with your brand, you really can get a sense of who you're talking to and start to, I guess, build out a customer profile that way, but we'll go into that in a moment. You know, every connection, every sale, every lead can really be tracked and traced on social media, which is important, which also makes it really easy to get a better sense of your return on investment when it comes to your activity on social media. It also makes a really great channel for creating awareness and engagement for both before the sale and after sale, if you're talking about your sales process and customer journey. So you can really kind of get granular as to how you're interacting with people throughout the whole process of someone becoming a client or a customer or someone buying a product from you. It potentially, of course, because of that, can really shorten the buyer's journey because you're presenting them with the right offers at the right time. You're essentially just creating another touch point for your consumer to get a little bit more intimate with you, which is fantastic. But of course, we know using social media without a strategy really is like driving a car without a map. Your wheels may be spinning, but you're not going to get to the destination you need with speed or ease. So a succinct strategy can really help you tackle your goals with a sense of purpose. Like, I think that's the real key with a strategy. You've got a purpose in mind, and you know that you can get measurable outcomes faster. So when we're thinking about strategy, the first thing we really need to do is define our goals. You know, there's no point having a strategy without having a goal or some key goals in mind. So what we do at Propel, and this process and this strategy, presentation we're going to go through is exactly what we do at Propel to craft client social media strategies, so you can know that this is exactly the process that we take. Is of course our first opportunity is to really define some outcomes and goals. So the question I would ask you when you're thinking about this for yourselves is, what do you really want out of your social media anyway? You know, like for me, of course, social media, if I'm using my own brand as an example, is a great way to connect to potential customers. It's a great way to extend my reach organically without having to put any spend or money behind it. It's a great way to essentially nurture customers to want to learn more about us. It's a real education tool for me. So that's one of my key objectives. But you as a business owner, you might have an e-commerce store that you're wanting to essentially sell products from. You might have a bricks and mortar store that you're wanting to get foot traffic to. There's endless amount of goals that you could set. So I would love you to just keep that in the back of your mind during this presentation. What is the main thing I want my social media to achieve for me? And when we're thinking about our goals, I like to create them within a framework, and that framework is the SMART goals framework. So you can see here within the slide, we are wanting to create goals that are specific. So they very clearly state what I'm wanting to achieve. So I want to achieve X amount of sales next month. Measurable, of course, we want to quantify them, put a number behind your goals. You know, I think that's sometimes where we can get a bit fluffy in relation to our goals when it comes to social media, saying, oh, you know, I want to increase my brand awareness, or I want to increase my reach. That's all great. Let's put a target number behind that so we can measure our success and measure our traction relating to that activity. We want to make our goals attainable. You know, we might be setting goals, but if they, you know, are hingent on other departments or other team members, or they're hingent on like getting a website live or whatever, you know, we of course need to make any goals that we're looking to achieve really attainable so that we can achieve them. We of course want to make them relevant to our organization. You know, as a business owner, I'm looking to get new clients myself. So I won't need to make a goal relating to online sales, of course, relating to my website, because I don't have that. And we want to make them, I guess, time bound, so we can know, okay, well, I've got this goal in mind. I want to achieve it by X date. So here's some examples of that, perhaps in action. You know, I want to increase my brand awareness. So that's the objective, through posts gaining at least 30,000 impressions during my launch phase. So say if I'm launching a new product, that's the goal I want to achieve within that time frame. Same deal, perhaps I want to increase my following by 1,000 potential clients in the next financial year. Generate 4 leads per month from my social platforms. I want to generate 100 clicks to my website per month from social. I want to receive 12 pieces of user-generated content per month. So, you know, all your goals don't have to necessarily always equate to sales and clients. They can relate to things like, sure, I want to get some more content from my customers. What strategies can I put into place to achieve that goal? So there's just some examples. So going back to that question previously, what do I want from my social media? You can start to think about, okay, well, what is that end goal and what do I need to put into place when it comes to achieving that? And of course, we'll go into the tactics of how to do that right now. Of course, goals don't really mean much if we can't connect them to the end consumer. So that's where data analysis is a really important component of a social media strategy. So how do we analyze our data? Well, and why is it important? Knowledge is power. We know we've heard that saying before, but I think that's just even more relevant in the age of information we live in. The better you can be armed.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi, sorry.
That's okay. The better we can be armed with the insights on our customers, you know, the better we can market to them. So if we're getting a better understanding of who our current customers are and who our potential customers are, perhaps, we're getting a better sense of how to market to them, essentially. So, you know, what we want to do is understand who our current audience is, and we'll get into that in a moment. We want to understand, you know, how customers can find us. And this is all the stuff that data analysis can uncover. You know, data analysis can tell us how customers engage with our platforms, you know, how they shop on our website, how they engage with our social content. It can even tell us like how many touch points a customer has with a brand before converting. We won't get into the particulars of that today, but there's just so much that data analysis can tell us. And of course, if you have any questions about data analysis, feel free to shoot me an email, or my details will be post this webinar. You can learn things like the times that your customers are most engaged, which can be really important when it comes to like when you're scheduling your content, when you're sending out your brand messages. You can also get a sense of where your customers are becoming disengaged. So perhaps where they're dropping off from your website. If you've got like an e-commerce store, for example, you can see, you know, if they're dropping off at a certain point where you might actually want to be re-engaging them. And that's what data analysis can tell us. So where do we start with data analysis? So there's a lot of different tools at your disposal. Your social platforms will actually have a lot of data ready to share with you. And I might see if I can just change my screen. Can you guys see that? Some data analysis there?
Yeah, we're following whatever you do, Lauren.
Yeah, perfect. So inside your Facebook channels, you've got a lot of different opportunities to get data and get an understanding of who your customer is. So in Facebook, if you've got an existing Facebook page, you can jump into your insights at any given time, and it will tell you a lot about who's engaging with you on Facebook, the times that they're active, you know, what type of post reach you're getting, all that kind of stuff. There's also a really great tool, which is in the slides that we'll share post this meeting, that Facebook offers to you if you've got a business page. And that's the audience insights tool. So it will tell you stuff about your current audience. So this is just my Facebook page and my Instagram account, telling you a bit about that. But it can also tell you stuff about your potential audience. So just Facebook users in general. So if we're talking about, this is looking at a potential audience without any filters, but I could pop a filter on this and select Wangaratta as my, you know, key area that I'm wanting to learn more about. And it can tell me, you know, what the breakdown of demographics are relating to this area for Facebook users and potential targeting opportunities. It can tell me the pages that they like, which might inform, you know, who I make collaborations with, or who I, you know, look to target in my Facebook advertising. Like, we're getting a bit, you know, granular there, but it's a really great tool to do a little bit of potential customer research, which is really great. What we've also got, of course, if you use Instagram, is the Instagram Insights tool direct within the app. So of course you can just navigate to your insights section and have a look at any of the key insights relating to your content that you're putting out there. You can select a date range. It can show you the accounts that you've reached, can show you a breakdown of your content performance. You can get granular on looking at different actions relating to your post. So I can look at, you know, the reach per post, or I can look at the comments per post. So having a bit of a deep dive into the back end of this, if you haven't done it in a little while or ever, I would highly encourage you to do that, because it just paints a little bit of a picture of A, you know, who your audience is, B, what's performed best for you in the past, and see where there might be opportunities as well, in terms of like leaning into some of that best performing content. Something that I would also encourage you to have a look at is Google Analytics. So again, you know, if you've got your own website, you might have set this up, you might not have. If you haven't and you have a website, I highly recommend you do set it up. It's a free tool. If you haven't set it up, just Google Analytics and follow the prompts. It's very, very easy. But what it can tell you is a lot of stuff about obviously how people are interacting and engaging with your website. So things like, you know, if we're looking at here, just my website, the traffic, where traffic is coming from. It's telling me, you know, 166 sessions from this time period came from organic search, which is great. It means that I've got a relatively high brand awareness in the market because people are finding me organically. It can also tell me, if we're speaking socially, how many of those sessions were driven from social, which is a really important, you know, thing to know. So definitely, and there's like Google Analytics can tell you so much. And again, I'm more than happy to answer any questions about that. But it's a great tool to get a better sense of your current audience. So if we go back to our slides, you know, obviously that's speaking to the fact that you've got some pre-existing data for you, but if you're a new business, you might not have that. You might need some tools and tactics to help you gain greater just general insights of who you might want to target. So I guess some general like free audience insight tools would be some of these ones that we're showing now, and I'll show you some examples. So if I'm a new business and I'm wanting to learn a little bit more about my industry perhaps, or you know, how people are searching you know, for things relating to my industry, I could use some of these free tools. So the first one is Answer the Public. It's a really cool free website, and I'll show it to you now. And again, you can just Google all this stuff, but we'll have all the links for you in the presentation. free website called Answer the Public. You Google it, you pop in your, I guess, your industry or a search term or anything relating to what you're wanting to learn more about. So for me in this example, I've popped in social media marketing, and it populates a bunch of different questions relating to your industry. So for me, it's telling me like, why is social media marketing important? Why is it effective? So on and so forth. So, you know, this is starting to tell me about like what customers are wanting to know, which might be really informative for when we're crafting our content strategy in a moment. So having a look, and even if you've already got some existing understanding of customer data, having a look at this website is really important because it might, you know, illuminate some things relating to, key search terms that people are wanting to know about. Another one is Google Trends. So again, this is a free tool. Google it, it will come up. We'll have the link. It populates some understandings around like actually on Google, you know, the search volume relating to any key search terms. So I've just popped in social media marketing as an example, and it's telling me, you know, where a lot of those searches are happening Australia-wide. You know, what are some related topics related to that key search term, related queries, that kind of stuff. And it gets a little bit more granular than that. So again, a really kind of good tool to help paint a picture of perhaps, you know, what people are wanting to know about this certain topic that you might be looking to market. And then another one which has a free option, but it also has a paid option as well, is a keyword insight tool called Ubersuggest. So it's really handy for getting a sense of what people are searching for. Also, if I can go back to my slides here, a really great tool for businesses perhaps who are wanting to know a little bit more about their, you know, potential audience, is to jump in some Facebook groups, get involved in some Facebook groups, get involved in some discussions, and if you can, submit a survey to those Facebook groups to get a sense of the things that you want to know as a business. So if you're launching a new business and you don't really know if you're offering answers the key consumer need, you could pop that in a survey, pop it in a few Facebook groups that you get involved in, and start to get some potential data to inform your strategy moving forward and inform who you're going to target to and who you're going to speak to. But of course, at the end of the day, social media isn't about you as a brand or a business or all the data that you collect. It's about your customers. So now that we know a little bit more about our customers, it's time to define our target audience. So defining our target audience. A quote I like to, again, refer back to is, if you try to impress everyone, you stand out to no one. So defining a target audience or audiences, it could be more than one, for social media will allow you to advertise more effectively. You're not just kind of going out to the masses, you're going out to particular key segments with a specific message. It's allowing you to focus your money and resources on relevant groups. You know, you're not having to spend all your money on just going out broadly. You can really hone in on the people you're wanting to speak to. It helps you solidify a brand tone or identity that speaks to a target audience. So, I mean, for me, you know, obviously my branding is quite particular, and it really speaks to people who, I guess, are wanting to be a bit bolder with their social media marketing or their digital marketing, you know, bold colors, that kind of stuff. It speaks to that target customer that I'm really going out to. So certainly the same could be applied to your own message. And of course, it helps you make a connection with your target much easier, as you won't have to wade through the noise of clients who are less ideal. So again, the way you position yourself in the market really helps you hone in on that key customer. You know, it might be related to price point or demographic status or whatever it might be. Helps you kind of hone in on that. So obviously we've done our data analysis. Perhaps we've gained a little bit of data on, you know, things like age and gender and that kind of stuff. It might now help us craft our customer persona. So with any social media strategy that we conduct, we like to kind of create a bit of a persona behind our target target audience. So for me at Propel, I can give you an example of one of my customer personas that we've crafted through data analysis and a bit of research. So my ideal, I've got a couple, but one of my ideal customer personas is a business owner named Marie. She's 33 and has been running her business now for over 5 years, and she's married with 2 kids. She loves getting involved with social media, but doesn't have the patience or the time to use it to its full potential. She likes to shop around and isn't afraid to invest in products or services when they have a brand cred or offer quality. She likes brands like Gourmet and supports local retailers in her community. She hates the mental load. So what we've done there is taken a bit of the data research relating to who's using our platforms and who's using our website, and we have crafted this persona. That's not actually a customer, it's just this kind of ideal customer of who we would want to target. And once you've done that, I guess it puts a face to the name for absolutely any activity you're doing. So when I'm crafting posts, I'm crafting them for Marie. You know, I'm knowing what type of language she likes. I'm using emojis because she would like emojis. You know, that kind of stuff. It really kind of helps you build that out. And as I mentioned, you can have more than one target audience. You know, you might have, particularly if you've got a particular product offering, you might have some that fit one target audience and some that fits another target audience. So understanding that those different personas might need to be spoken to in different ways. So laying that out, and even just like writing it out, you know, having it stuck on your wall, whatever it might be, can really help you, I guess, pinpoint and hone in on the way you need to speak to them. Okay, so now we've got our target customer in mind. You can gear everything you create towards them, which is what I just mentioned. With that out of the way, of course, it's now to identify some opportunities to engage with this audience through a competitor analysis. Now, hang on, my cord's just come out. All right. So, competitor analysis. Now, sometimes a competitor analysis can have a bit of a bad rap, I would say. You know, I certainly want to stress that a competitor analysis isn't about like, you know, spying on your competitors so you can copy them or anything like that. It's really wholly and solely about finding where a gap in the market might be. Because, you know, we're in this day and age where there's probably about 10 other Joe Blows down the road who's doing exactly what we're doing. So how can we find a gap in the market so we can differentiate ourselves to them and ensure that we're seen as at a certain position in the market. So we at Propel, we always do this, conduct a competitor analysis when it comes to completing strategies. So typically we look at followers, although and the numbers relating to social, although I would 100% stress that that is just a number and it should just be considered at that. It's really, you know, nothing, it's more just a yardstick for you more than anything. What we love to look at and investigate a little bit more is things like looking at how engaged their community is. Are they, you know, replying to queries? How are they engaging with their community? So things around community and management analysis. Same deal with their content. We look at their content. So what type of content are they using? What type of content performs best for them? Is there a type of content that they're not using that you could potentially use? And getting a sense of, yeah, if there's any gaps there that you could fulfill for that potential customer. A website analysis. So again, we typically like to have a little bit of a sticky beak at that website, looking at their content, looking at their website site speed. Again, we've got lots of links that we can help you there with, to just get a sense of, yeah, if there's any opportunity there as well, because if people are engaging with them on social, that might be all great, but if they go to their website and it's just terribly formatted and it's really slow and all that jazz, well, that's a gap for you to potentially outdo them with a website experience that's really positive for the user and really easy and, you know, makes a lot of sense. And we also like to look at an advertising analysis. So looking at what ads they might be running, whether they've got the Facebook pixel on their website. Here's some tools, and I'll run you through some of these in a moment. Facebook Ads Library is a free little tool that Facebook offers to you, so you can kind of stalk on your competitors to see if they're running any ads. And again, it's not to copy them, it's really just to see what they are doing, and if they're not doing anything, well, that's a great opportunity for you potentially to be running Facebook ads. So if I can show you that now, we'll send you the link post-meeting, but it's simply just Facebook Ads Library. You pop in a certain competitor and you can see if they're running ads. So I've just popped in Nescafe as the first example that came to mind, and I can see exactly what ads that they're running. Another thing that's really helpful is the Facebook Pixel Helper. So this is a little Chrome extension that you can pop in your browser that essentially tells you if a user's using the Facebook Pixel. And what the Facebook Pixel is, it enables brands and businesses to retarget to people with advertising. And if businesses aren't using that, it's a massive opportunity for you to kind of take the next step when it comes to your advertising and employ retargeting tactics, which is really proven to be very, very successful because you're working to nurture your customer. When we're talking about retargeting, we're talking about someone perhaps coming to your website and maybe they don't convert, or maybe they're just looking around, having a browse. If they head back to Facebook or Instagram and you've got the pixel installed on your website, you can then serve them an ad and retarget to them. So really, really valuable tool to nurture consumers. So potentially someone's thinking about purchasing with you, but they haven't made the plunge yet. That's a great kind of tool to just keep them in the loop, keep them in your orbit. Fantastic. Uber Suggest, I went through it briefly before, but that's just relating to, getting a sense of, you can pop in addition to your keywords, looking at keywords that you want to learn about, you can also pop in competitor websites and see how they're ranking organically and that kind of stuff. So obviously I won't go through this, but definitely have a look at that site. It's got a free version, a paid version, great tool. Awesome. So there's some free tools there that might be able to help you with your competitor analysis. But going back to the previous, like we just pop this in we put it in a presentation setting where we're presenting it to clients, but just popping in a simple Excel doc. So you've got it there as a yardstick, you know, when you've completed this analysis, so you can refer back to it. And something that I would say is equally important is to, you know, give yourself a bit of analysis here. You know, you want to see how you're performing in relation to a lot of these key components, so that you might see the opportunities to improve on your performance. So we always conduct a bit of a SWOT analysis for businesses when they're coming on board as a part of their strategy. And of course, to refresh what a SWOT analysis is, it's looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Just as an example, if I'm thinking about a brand, perhaps, you know, I'm analyzing myself and I'm saying, okay, as a strength, I'm great at highlighting the features of my product or offering. That's what sets me apart. So I'm really good at the education piece. But, you know, a weakness could be, well, I'm not that great at showing the behind the scenes of my business. You know, people can find it hard to connect with me because I'm not showing up personally behind my business. I find it a bit daunting. But an opportunity could be my competitors aren't actively engaging with their customers on social media. So I'm going to use this as a really great opportunity to make sure I'm engaging with absolutely everyone that's coming, commenting on my posts and my stories and all that jazz, making sure I'm the leader in that space because my competitors are really, you know, falling behind there. And a threat, I mean, potentially could be, you know, a lot of people are doing the same thing in my industry. So what can I do to set myself apart? What are the ingredients to do that? You know, that's the big question, I guess. But once you've done that competitor analysis, you've got a pretty broad brush view of how you can do that. Awesome. So now we've got all the dried ingredients together. I would say that's kind of like the boring, in inverted commas, part of a strategy. You can start to add the sugar and spice, which is your content. Woohoo, exciting. content strategy, I mean, I think where businesses get unstuck is that they start with their content, right? They start with the end product. But without doing all that forward thinking and forward planning, your content is going to fall flat time and time again because you haven't thought about who you need to speak to and the way you need to speak to them. So what we do at Propel, and included in any social media strategy, is that we find a few key content pillars that fit into our, I guess, key messages as a business. So we would always kind of define a few key pillars for a client, which helps us stay accountable for our posting, but it also helps us add variety for what we're posting, and it makes sure we can just stay memorable, right? So, here's some content pillars that I think probably would fit into a lot of different businesses, but it doesn't mean that these would be your only ones or your be all and end alls. But education is really important. So that could be, how you're adding value to your customer. And that can sometimes be hard if you're not a service-based business, if you're a product-based business, you might be thinking, oh God, well, how am I educating people about my products? Well, there's a lot of different ways. You can educate them with a bit of a behind the scenes or time lapse on like how long, it takes you to make this certain thing, or exactly what's involved in the, sales process or the delivery process, or how I pack my products. All that beautiful stuff educates the customer about why they should be choosing your product over someone else's, because you're showing how you add value to their shopping experience. As a service-based business, we educate people via, entertaining reels, that kind of stuff. We really just think about in what ways can I add value? Entertainment as a content pillar. So we try, as a business, we try to stand out by, having a bit of a lighthearted approach to social. And I think certainly lots of businesses could do that. It's maybe you've got a particular tone of voice and that pillar wouldn't fit for you, but for us, it kind of, I guess, brings down the barriers a little bit and helps people connect with us as a business. Inspiration, customers always want to be, I guess, inspired as to how they might work with you, or, how they can connect with you. So that's a really great tool where you can, perhaps like share a throwback to when you started your business journey and how far you've come, or, it could even be just like sharing a relatable quote that hits your target audience perfectly. Really kind of hitting in those emotion heartstrings is a really great content pillar to explore. And of course, we do need promotion and sales content, because otherwise, why are we using social media? So, a great example is that post that we put up the other night for you guys to join this webinar. The main action and call to action for that was for you guys to join this webinar, and thank you for doing that. So, yeah, I mean, we do need that content in the mix, but as long as it's not the whole approach, right? You can see that the benefit of setting up these pillars is so that we can have variety and we can have a bit of, difference between what we're talking about all the time. We'll share this with you post this meeting, but I've got like a bit of a content calendar template, which might, help you, I guess, get a little bit inspired. It's not the be all and end all, but if you were to look at some of those different pillars, we've got some drop downs there to like, okay, well, today I could tell my story, or tomorrow I could share behind the scenes of my business, or the next day I could diagnose a problem that customer might have. And it might just help you, I guess, get the ball rolling, because that's the hardest thing, right? If you're scrolling on your screens and you're like, oh God, what am I posting today? So when we're crafting content, typically how we do it is we rough out a rough plan, just like in a spreadsheet like this. So we can get a sense that our pillars are on a nice rotation and we're not talking sales all the time, or we're not inspiring people all the time. We've got a nice mix of content. We then just do a bit of a brain dump. So we think about all the things we need to speak about throughout that month. And then we refine it. So we would, craft the copy that's targeting our key consumer. Perhaps we've got different consumers we need to talk to at different points of the month. And then we would go about sourcing or producing content. that is a tricky thing in itself, but there's lots of, I guess, free resources out there that can help you with creating content. And what I would say is don't get too stressed about like, you know, not having like a beautiful aesthetic Instagram feed or whatever. Like as long as you're creating content that, yeah, connects with your key consumer, that is the end goal. That's the main thing. So a mobile phone, you know, shot is fine of your team and they're loading, you know, the truck or whatever, or, you know, you've got a bit of a time lapse of you creating your next product in your next launch. Like that's not super polished, but it's fine. That's what people are going to relate to. So definitely have a crack at doing it yourself. And then of course, so we can, I guess, stay accountable to this schedule, is that we schedule our content in advance and we repeat the process. So for our clients, we schedule content out in a month in advance. Not to say that you have to do that, but certainly it helps you stay, I guess, on track to become accountable, right? Awesome. So we'll shoot you this template following this session. What I would say is when it comes to content, remember that it's okay to repurpose content. If you've created a successful post a few months ago, find a new way to spin it or reshare it just as it was. You know, content doesn't live in a silo and it doesn't have like a one post lifespan. You can rehash that and redo it as many goddamn times you like, because it's obviously resonating with the customer for a reason. Don't feel pressured to post or show up every day. Commit to a posting frequency that you can achieve. So, you know, if we were to go back to the one previously, like this could be a post a week. Like it really doesn't have to be a lot, as long as you can commit to a consistent posting schedule. So whatever that is, that's the one to work towards. You don't have to be on all the platforms to get success from your social. So, I mean, I think people can get really stressed out by thinking, oh God, I've got to be on Instagram and Facebook and now there's TikTok. Oh my God, how am I going to keep up? Like, just do what you can do. I mean, I know personally, like we specialize in social media, but like I really only mostly hang out on Instagram. So just align yourself to what works best for you. And as frustrating as it might be, it is true that people connect with people. So customers really do want to see the people behind these brands that they follow. So I would encourage you in whatever way you can, try sharing this through your social media, you know, and it is a baby steps thing. Like when I started Propel, you know, I went out behind the moniker of Propel and I never showed my face. And I said, you know, we at Propel do this, and I really kind of hid behind that. But as soon as I started showing my face and showing up and just flexing that muscle a little bit more every day, explosion, like my business started to boom. So, you know, the people, again, it's all about human to human marketing. People relate to people. So if you can just start chipping away at that with baby steps, I would 100% recommend that. Awesome. So I guess some growth tactics to potentially look into, right? So we've got our ingredients of like what we need to do and how we need to do it in terms of our content. Growth tactics, I guess, relate to some nice little other things you could look into. Again, like it's just another thing to do, but they do have great success. So thinking about, okay, well now we've got our objectives mapped out, we've got our audience mapped out, our opportunities mapped out, our communications mapped out. We can start thinking about some other additional tactics to help us achieve all of our objectives that we set out to you know, succeed in. So you could potentially look at like influencer marketing as an example. Like competitions are a great way to generate a bit of growth or awareness if that's your key objective. Collaborations, again, perhaps you're wanting to hone in on like a particular customer, you know, collaborating with a business or a brand that also speaks to that particular customer could be a great way for you to cross-pollinate audiences. User-generated content. If you are a brand or a business that's looking to get more content, finding out strategies to get your customers getting content for you is a great avenue. You know, if you're struggling to get content, just reach out to your best customers and say, hey, you know, would you be okay at shooting a few shots for us on X or Y? It's a great tool to get more stuff for you. And like people, your customers love to like, you know, engage with you that way. They love that kudos. They love all of that jazz. So certainly would recommend that. Jumping on platform trends, like I know, oh, it's cringy, like, oh, another thing to do, but reels and I guess trends on the platforms that you're on, playing and dabbling in those can help you see success. Again, like as with anything, it's baby steps with social. So just have a crack. You know, the benefit of social is that anything you do put out, if you think it's a failure, well, it doesn't matter because people are going to forget about it in 2 minutes. So like that's the benefit, I guess. But when you're memorable, they will remember it for a long time. So that's really important to get back into that. Perhaps you want to look into referral programs for your business. So, you know, if people are referring you via social, that could be an opportunity to potentially grow, you know, and again, cross-pollinate with new customers. And of course, looking at other digital marketing. As I mentioned, social is just a very small portion of your overall marketing strategy. So how does it feed in with, you know, the way you present on your website or your email marketing or, yeah, all the other beautiful aspects of digital marketing. And just to wrap up, of course, we want to look at how we measure success. So, of course, we've thought about all these things. It's really great. Awesome. That's great, Loz. But like, what do I do to ensure that I'm achieving my objectives? So, I mean, there are a lot of different, I guess, tools to gain success. So, we use a lot of automated reporting software. So you could do that. And like what I would say is you're small business owners, you don't have time to be reporting all the time, of course. So just like with posting, just commit to a reporting or a check-in schedule that you can, you know, commit to, right? So it doesn't have to be weekly or fortnightly or monthly. You just need to ensure that you're taking the time to review your efforts. If you're putting the effort into making a strategy, then you want to make sure that it's working for you, right? So as I mentioned, we use pretty sophisticated reporting software that kind of takes the guesswork out of reports. And there's a lot of free tools that can help you with that. So definitely have a bit of a Google. But you don't have to. Like, it's a simple check-in on the native app platforms just to see what's resonated with your audience and what hasn't. So some key things that I look at is like what's generating reach and impressions, what's generating engagements, you know, what's generating in link clicks to my website, potentially what's generating conversions. So yeah, just checking in every now and again, I think is really important. So potentially then if you are committing to like checking your socials once a month or maybe once a quarter or once every 6 months, finding a way to track that performance will ensure that you're, I guess, working to achieve those goals that we set out at the very start. So, you know, again, could be a super simple Excel spreadsheet, like however you want to do it. But I think ensuring that you're taking the time to align to those key objectives or is important. So when we're setting out key performance indicators, KPIs, it's kind of up to you really what you want to set, whatever is a meaningful outcome for you. So, you know, we talked about SMART goals and making them measurable and that kind of stuff. So for me, one of my key KPIs is just one new client via social media a month. And that's not through referral or whatever. And the way I track that is through, of course, I'm checking in my socials all the time because like, I'm just addicted. But one of the key ways I do that is through like on my referral form on my website, it says, how did you hear from us? You know, just simple things like that. That's my key objective, but you could have, of course, many other key objectives. And tracking them in a super simple spreadsheet just like this, you know, we're saying what our goal is, and then at the end of the month, we'd say what we actually achieved so we can see if we're tracking upwards. Yeah, all for the better. Woohoo, we made it. And like perfect timing, woohoo, that's great. I guess any questions would be great if you had any, but looking forward for you guys to get busy and go forth with your strategies. Okay. Escape that. Stop share. Cool. Well, if there's no questions, we can, I guess.
Sorry, was.
Yes, Georgie. Hello.
How you going? I just, as you probably know, I'm very sporadic and inconsistent with my social media. Probably like yourself, family and businesses going on. So yeah, like I know you were saying, try and develop some sort of consistency or some sort of frequency. Any sort of feedback on that? You know, I mean, you obviously follow me and know what I do, and that is it such a detriment to not be overly consistent and frequent, or?
Great question. Oh my God, I totally get it. So it's not, and I would say, I mean, what you're really great at, because I do follow you and I know you very well, is that you're great at sharing stories, and like, actually, if we understand like how people are using social platforms, we know, and you probably, most of the people joining this webinar will know, if they're an Instagram user, they'll go to stories first. I know I do. And stories are a great way to still show up and be active without the, I guess, like rigmarole of, you know, having a really intricate content strategy, right? It's a content strategy in itself. So thinking about, okay, well, if I can commit to showing up via stories, which you guys do, which is great, how can I tweak that strategy to become a little bit more strategic to my end goal? So, you know, obviously you're in a tricky position with Vimbar at the moment, but like if my end goal is bookings, well, how can I, you know, insert that a little bit more into my story strategy? So, you know, just simply including call to actions to your audience, right? Like, I mean, I think what sometimes we forget to just actually ask for the sell, and like, not in a sleazy way, just like, you know, you're really great at that story selling. You create this beautiful story behind your brand. Well, at the end of, you know, 3 beautiful Instagram stories that you've created talking about Vimbar getting a wash, whatever, have a call to action to be like, hey, actually, and we've got, you know, X amount of free slots for this weekend. So if you want to make a booking, head to our website, you know?
Yeah, I have been told I'm pretty slack at that side of it, the selling side.
It's hard. It's like, it feels a bit icky. But yeah, the more you can commit to that, the better. So yeah, what I would say is whatever you are strong at, lean into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know there's a couple others I saw here in the wedding sector, tourism, hospitality, all those sort of sectors there. And a friend said the other day, you know, you just got to, even though we're not doing anything really at the moment, you just got to act like you are, you know, still operating, still busy as such, you know, keep posting that, portray that, you know, it's all good, you know,
like, I mean, we're all in the, well, no, I mean, industry versus industry, obviously very different, but like, we're all in this COVID lockdown and all, you know, impacted by COVID. So people get it, of course. Yeah.
Thanks. It's great. Thanks for the.
That's okay. Any other questions before we hop off? I know it's 5, but if you feel free to hop off as well if you have to leave, but any questions? That's okay. I will shoot all this stuff to Kate, which she can distribute. And obviously I'm only an email or a DM away. So yeah, thank you, Rural City of Wangaratta, for the opportunity to present. Yeah, enjoy crafting your strategies. And if you have any questions, just shoot away.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Lauren. Yep, we will be sharing the recording, a copy of the slides and that content calendar, which looks like a really great resource, even just to get you thinking about the different objectives of what you are posting, what your aim is. And I really liked what you said, Lauren, about talking to your audience, how they like to be spoken to. It took me a really long time particularly with the tourism, the Visit Wangaratta brand hat on, to realise that, you know, not every email needs to be regards or sincerely, because that's not how we speak to each other. So yeah, really liked what you said on that. And yeah, thank you so much. Lots of great takeaways today. So fantastic.
Appreciate it. All right. Yep. See you later.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.